Hey guys, welcome back. So for this one, we're getting into Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong. And man, this story is wild so far, in a good way. So let's get into it. But first, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to catch the spills every week. And don't forget to hit that bell up top to get all notifications so we can squad up in the comments for the first hour. Alright, so going into this, first we gotta talk about how this is even happening. And to do that, we find ourselves going back 12 hours, where we see Barry Allen, the Flash, and Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, watching Superman zip from one location to the next, almost as if he's saving the whole world at one time. And for a moment it has Hal asking, why doesn't Superman go this hard all the time? And Barry answers that question, telling Hal because it's not sustainable. And not only is that something that Barry would understand more than most, but it's also important to know the condition of Superman at this point in time going into the story. Because as we continue our coverage, we'll see that it adds to the bigger picture. But not after long, when Hal and Barry are joined by Kara, we find out that Superman is going extra hard because tonight he has plans to propose to Lois Lane. So for that reason, Superman's trying to get as much done as possible so that he can have the night with Lois, and after that go on the first vacation he's ever been on in his whole life, which is wild. But at one point when they're monitoring Superman, they see him in Metropolis tracking what appears to be the silhouette of a huge ape. And for a moment we almost get one of my favorite lines from Kong's Skull Island by way of Supergirl, because for a moment she almost says, "Is that a monkey?" And though we don't quite get the quote, it's close enough. But quickly we discovered that it's Titano, who was like your space chimp at one point, who during an experiment had a crazy accident where like a kryptonite meteor collided with a uranium meteor, and now he's super huge and he can shoot kryptonite from his eyes. And that's more or less his backstory, or something along those lines. But now it seemed that Superman has to deal with Titano. Both Barry and Hal are like, okay, this might be a bit much and we need to get down there and help him out. So of course Barry gets there first, only to realize that Superman's already got the situation handled. Like this man's really on a mission, cause he got plans tonight. But after taking down Titano, Barry just hitches a ride with Superman as they go to drop off the big fella on Stryker's Island, the super maximum security prison. And during this time, Hal catches up with them, and the three of them have this conversation about Clark getting ready to pop the big question to Lois. And it just has Barry thinking about when he'll get there with Iris, cause his parents' relationship was complicated, to say the least, and he hasn't even told Iris who he really is. And as far as Hal's concerned, he just wants to make sure that Clark's aware that he's given up everything and he's trading in his independence for a life of being number two. But nonetheless, they just drop off Titano here as they find Diana just waiting to meet up with them, and it's a really lighthearted moment because Diana, she just wishes Clark the best and she lets him know that he means the world to her. She's happy for him, which again just has this whole day going like, well, what could go wrong? At least until we head over to the Legion of Doom, where in their case, they're just disgusted with how quickly all of these events got taken care of and resolved, and it leads into a conversation between them that they've had a number of times. Cause at one point Giganta's like, we should take the fight to them, and Grodd agrees, but Toyman points out the obvious, telling them that that's easier said than done. And there's this moment here where Black Manta just tells them like they can do it, they have the resources, the combined intellect, and the power set to destroy the Justice League. But the only thing that they need aside from that is a solid plan, because they have the ingredients, the recipe's just been whack, which really is the truth. But for a moment a number of them go back and forth, because everyone has their own idea on what the problem is. So Toyman just puts it out there, he's like, maybe the Justice League always wins because they actually get along. Which then more or less has Cheetah like, so what you trying to say? We always lose to the Justice League because they super friends? Man, if you don't shut your old dumb body face. And then Lex shows up and he tells him that he has this plan that'll take Superman and the Justice League off the board forever. Because the whole mix up with Titano, it was just a distraction. So Lex tells them to come along so he'll fill them in along the way, to where from here they all make their way to the Fortress of Solitude. So Lex has Black Manta just handle Kelex, which is Superman's robot Kryptonian security guard, and just after that they make their way inside. So Lex tells them they're here to grab a mother box and Orion's sled. That's it. Just those two things and get out of here. Cause its master plan, if that's what you want to call it, is to send the Justice League to the Phantom Zone. But as Black Manta's examining the cases so that they can pull this off without tripping the ultrasonic alarm that goes off on a frequency that only Superman can hear, or really only Kryptonians can hear, Toyman sees the Dreamstone sitting over to the side and he just takes it. which right away sets off the ultrasonic alarm. And Superman hears it, so he gets ready to zip out to the Fortress of Solitude, but Bruce tells him to wait, cause Kara let him know that her and the others will handle it, cause Clark really needs the night off. He's earned it. So from here, Supergirl, Hawkgirl, Flash, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, they all head to the Fortress of Solitude to stop the Legion of Doom, and Lex tells the others to cover him while he sets everything up. But in the middle of all this commotion, Toyman throws one of his bombs at Hawkgirl, only for her to deflect it with her mace right over to the mother box, and it prematurely activates what Lex was working on between the mother box and Orion's sled, which then sends the Legion of Doom to a strange land that at first they don't recognize. But right now, as you could imagine, these guys are pissed at Toyman, and rightfully so, because this is all his fault. But Lex more or less tells the others to hold off on ripping him a new one, because right now they gotta save their energy for figuring out how to get back. So Giganta, she goes large, and she sees what looks to be either a research facility or a military outpost in the distance, and Lex is like, okay cool, we'll start there. But as they make their way, Black Manta gives everyone the heads up, because he's reading a lot of heat signatures in this forest. So he makes sure to tell everyone to keep their head on a swivel. But as soon as he says that, these guys get confronted by a skull crawler. But just after that, Kong comes through, and the two of these guys start going at it. So the Legion of Doom, they make the smart decision, and they let these Titans have at it as they make a break for the facility, while Captain Cold uses his cold gun to try to create some distance and buy them some time. But while everyone else is making their way into the facility, Gorilla Grodd is just in awe. He's looking at King Kong like an ape god, and he just stands there stuck, gazing upon Kong in all of his glory. But meanwhile, with everyone else inside, because they're just like, bump that. For a moment, Giganta's like, wait, where's Grodd? And Captain Cold's just like, he outside trying to make friends with his cousin. But after finding a map on one of these displays, Lex and Black Manta, they discovered that they are indeed on Skull Island. But the real question is, what Earth? Because in theory, that's step one to figuring out how to get back. But as they're checking out this facility, Toyman points out the different monsters on the screen, while saying such wonderful toys, all of them, especially this one, as he points to Godzilla. And Toyman tries to tell Lex and the others that this is their answer, because these majestic titans are perfect for them. They are the perfect toys, which now has me thinking, or hoping at the least, that this leads to us getting at some point a new version of Mecha Godzilla, either from Toyman or Batman. I don't know, somebody needs to get on it. But nonetheless, Toyman is trying to tell Lex and the others that they need to use these titans against the Justice League, because this is the answer. This is that perfect plan. But Lex and the others, they're just not trying to hear it. So Toyman pulls out the Dreamstone, and he wishes that all of these toys could go back to play with the Justice League, so Lex and the others could really see what he was talking about. And just like that, a huge light fills up the facility, while Gorilla Grodd's still outside talking to Kong. But from here, this now brings us back to Metropolis, where we see Clark having dinner with Lois on top of the Daily Planet, because this is the big moment that he planned for, because he wants to propose to Lois in the same place that they first met. And much like the majority of the day that we saw in Metropolis earlier, everything's going perfect, and we even get to the point where Clark gets down on one knee, only for a huge rumble to come from the coastline as Godzilla emerges from the water. And man, just the sight of Godzilla, the scale is just insane. So of course, Clark makes his way out to have a talk with the big fella, because that always solves things in comic books. And so now real quick, I want to give a special shout out to all the patrons. Thank you guys for all of your support. And for anyone who's new here, who wants more information on how to support the channel, I got a link below where you can go to patreon.com/dopespill. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and we'll do it again on the next one. Alright, later.